What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Following the Pack, presented by the GameTime Podcast. Of course, I am Isaiah Hoffman, your voice of the Redwolves, along with Mark Hester, Coach Hester, head coach of the IU East men's basketball program. Coach, you guys are getting ready to hit the road for your first away game of the season. Obviously, we talked last week about the win over St. Francis, and now it's a new week. Getting close to traveling to Georgia. Got a long drive ahead of you guys tomorrow, but just kind of talk about how you're feeling now a week after that first win of the season.
Well, I'm actually in the parking lot at Walmart right now because I just had to pick up some snacks and stuff for the trip for the guys and halftime stuff that they need to take at halftime, some electrolyte stuff and things like that. So, just preparing for it. But, it's been a good week since we played. The guys have been pretty focused on getting better and fixing some of the things we needed to, and hopefully that'll translate into game. It's not just a practice thing where they're doing it to appease us so they don't have to run or get yelled at. And they're going to they realize and see the value of what it is we're asking them to do, and they're going to execute that come game time.
Yeah, I'm excited for what the season has in store. We are, just getting into it. Talk about the practices this week. Obviously, the closer you get to game day, the lighter it kind of is because, you walk through just kind of going through stuff. What was the goal this week for you and Bishop as this week continues to get closer to that first away game?
We wanted to continue getting better at some of the things that we felt like we were deficient at in the first game, and I've kind of had trouble with throughout the preseason, and it wasn't a lot because I thought we did some things well. It was just some minor tweaks here and there as far as the defensive end, which is where we're focused on. That's where probably 99% of our effort goes. But then we also wanted to get a little bit better on the offensive end too. Just making quicker decisions, cutting down some of our space between passes, guys coming to it, knowing what we're doing before we catch it, having our feet ready to go on the catch, communicating with who we're going to go into our actions with, that type of stuff before they happen, not as it's happening or by the time you catch it, but prior to catching it and stuff like that. So, it's a work in progress. We made some strides, but we're nowhere near what I hope that we will become, into December, middle of January.
Talk about Reinhardt a little bit. Obviously, I think with St. Mary's, we obviously coming in, Carson Rogers, the rebounding was a big thing. The margins were very close there. When you look at this Reinhardt team, what do they bring to the table come Saturday?
They present some challenges. I haven't looked at the actions particularly that we have to guard just yet, but I've kind of looked at their personnel more so. They got some guys that can do some things off the dribble and one-on-one in particular, which is kind of been something we've struggled with a little bit so far, and in the past anyway. This team still remains to be seen, but in the past we've had trouble with that because sometimes guys just make shots and they get off on a tear of being able to get a rhythm and be good one-on-one players, and that's hard to stop sometimes, and I think that's going to be a challenge for us, is making sure they don't get any kind of rhythm. They are a good defensive team. We've got to make sure that we are taking care of the basketball, not making live ball turnovers to where they can, things we can't defend, where they're driving, getting steals and getting layups or, those types of things. And, it's similar. And this time of year, it all scares you because you don't know how well or how poorly you're going to do whatever it is you're doing, and you don't know how well or how poorly they're going to do. So it's it's always you hope you've done your job in practice of preparing them best you can, and then scout, and just kind of go from there.
You've been coaching for a long time, obviously, Coach, but when it comes to away games, that first away game, when it comes to prepping, getting the travel ready, everything else, is there a part of you that gets not maybe stressed out, but it's like it can be a little?
No, you can say stressed out.
Yeah.
You can
Okay.
say,
All right.
especially now. So the past couple years, past 14 years, Coach Rigby was here, and he handled a lot of the getting things ready for the road trips. He had a checklist, and either he did it or we gave it to our managers, or it was a combination of all the above. Having a new staff, having new managers, having new everything, it's kind of falling on me to make sure all that's done. Like I said, that's why I'm out buying stuff right now. For the trip. Our student assistant Noah Holland has been fantastic in learning how to get some of this stuff done. He's been phenomenal of asking the right questions and getting things done, not waiting until the last minute. He just makes my life so much easier by what he's doing, and that's great. And so there's a lot of stress that goes along with traveling the first time, especially. It never kind of totally goes away, but you got to make sure. I'm having to take a lot of the hotel stuff on my own and things like that too, which is not easy. We can't do a shoot around at the school, so we're having to try to find another gym to do shoot around at. It's just been a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I got to give a shout out to Noah's dad. He watches the pod. He was one of our first watchers of the pod. So shout out to Noah, and then obviously shout out his father as well. It's going to be a big couple of games for you guys coming up. Obviously, looking at the schedule, right? We just talked about it. Reinhardt this Saturday, and then on the 11th, Grace College comes to Indiana. Obviously, Grace is seeing a lot of success. They're ranked nationally this year as well. It's going to be a tough game, and then following that, you guys go to Michigan Dearborn. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Michigan Dearborn came here last year as the opening game of the season. I'm pretty sure, or if it wasn't the opening game of the season, they were here very early on last year.
It was our first home game, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering.
I think it was our first home game. So I think we opened at Defiance last year in their class.
It was first home game.
Yeah,
for me, I look at it as an opener, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And they've got a new coach, new system, new players. I've seen them on film once. Just kind of, they were playing somebody in our conference. IU Kokomo. They actually beat IU Kokomo. So they looked good. Looked like they could really shoot it. They looked formidable. So big challenge. But then Grace is just, it's going to be that's going to be one of those games that we talk about all the time. There's going to be very little margin for error. You're not going to go out and win that game. Neither team is going to go out and win that game. The teams are going to lose that game by not executing or one play here, one play there that you don't do. And that's the way it happens at the highest levels. And we like to think, hopefully we're at that highest level. They're definitely at that highest level. We've got to come out and execute as to the maximum that we're capable of doing it. And hopefully they're going to have to do the same, and be a great game. It's going to be, so the 12 o'clock start's really cool. We're at Hibbard Program School, which is Logos program, which is the gifted program in Richmond, and also the STEAM Academy, which is kind of a newer academic program that they have. This is 3rd through 8th grade at Hibbard Program Schools within Richmond. The entire school's coming to the game, so there's going to be hundreds of elementary, middle school kids. My youngest son Braxton's going to be a part of it. So it should be really loud, and your ears are probably going to be ringing for a couple hours after. But that's going to make it fun. It'll let them engage with, hopefully college players and see a college game and take a day off and kind of make it somewhat educational for them. And it should be great.
And one thing I didn't ask last week about St. Francis, so I'll ask it now. After the game, there was like a little autograph signing and everything else. Can you kind of explain how that got put together? Because obviously there was people there that I think helped put that together, correct?
Yeah. So I spoke at the Richmond Wayne County Realtors Association monthly get together that they have in the summer, and they enjoyed hearing about IU East. I hope at least they did. I didn't bore them to death, I guess. And they wanted to do a night sponsored by KTL Mortgage, which is a mortgage company out of Muncie and Hagerstown, I think, is where they're basically based out of. But long story short, they wanted to come do something for the members of the Realtor Association, and they sponsored it. They put everything together and did a fantastic job. Zach White is a guy I know that works there, who kind of took over the project, and then Zach Edwards, our tennis coach, kind of ran with it, and they put all that stuff together. Nick printed the pictures out, and the guys signed for their kids, and everybody had a good time. So it was fun. That's what it's about. Hopefully, we made some fans in the community that are going to want to come out and support us and be a part of it and follow our journey and stuff like that. And that's the main goal.
Yeah, and it feels like, I've been here for 4 years, obviously, and it feels like this year, obviously, I feel like soccer has seen a bigger crowd on both games. I've been more at the women's games this year than the men's, but it feels like there's been a bigger crowd there. Even the first two basketball games, right? I feel like men's, obviously, there was a big crowd, and I think even women's, it felt like there was more, student athletes coming to support student athletes, because that's what this campus is mostly built on, right? It's having student athletes there living across from campus. So it feels like there has been more people at the games this year, and it does give it that big time feel. So I'm excited for Tuesday, because that Grace game, it'll be a big matchup. And there's other teams in the conference, Coach, that are also playing really well this year. Obviously, Southeast got the big win a couple weeks ago as well. And then Midway, they kept it close. I think it was a D1 school, if I remember correctly. They kept it close. They didn't get the win, but they were leading at half. So the conference this year, it looks interesting, right? Obviously, the coaches poll had Rio at 1. So it feels like, once again, kind of like last year, where it could be anybody's conference. Is that the same sentiment that you have this year?
I keep up with it very, very little until we get into probably December, when you kind of get more of a sample size of what everybody's doing. I did watch Southeast win over Georgetown. That was great. I text Wiley after the game and congratulated him on that. He was pretty pumped. But we've had some good. The basketball in our conference is so underrated, and part of that is because most of the teams have had such a huge turnover. Men's basketball anymore, it's just turnover every single year, and you're having to deal with an entirely new team. So what may be a lot of talent may not come together and gel well until middle of the year. And last year that was kind of the case. This year, I think Rio's got a lot of returning players. We have a lot of returning players. I'm not sure how many other schools in our conference actually do. But I can assure you that with the money that they're putting into it now, that there's going to be quality across the board. And so it's going to be a dogfight every single night. I look for several teams that nobody's even talking about probably to be in the mix and pull some big upsets. Hopefully not against us, but I think that the potential is there to have, again, a big group at the top, and even the ones in the bottom are still capable of beating the ones at the top on any given night. We have some really tough places to play in our league. We have some tough conference travel schedules to deal with sometimes. So it's things are just different everywhere you go. It's in other conferences, sometimes it's cookie cutter. They're running the same things. They're running the same things, playing the same type of venues every single night. Where our league is not like that. Our league is, everybody's different. Their styles of play are all different. The types of places we play are all different. Types of towns you go to are all different. It's pretty crazy. So it makes it for exciting, but also makes you mentally tough, and you learn to just deal with kind of anything, and nothing really bothers you.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of freshmen this year, I was at the practice, and a couple of them were like, what do we bring? So it's kind of their first experience traveling for a college game, which, it's got to be a cool experience. So I ask you, if a freshman came up to you and asked, for an away game, just what would be your best advice to give them being on the road, balancing this new college life?
Number one, talk to the older guys. That's what I said to them. Was like, I blame the older guys for not having talked to you about it already. Like, they need to tell you. That's how true in a great culture, and a culture that we want to have. It's called progressive learning. The older guys share with the newer guys, and that's really happening with the basketball stuff. the other stuff off the court is probably not happening as much as it needs to. But they're kind of the younger guys are curious as to what's going to go on with the road trip. They were asking about the hotel situation, who they're going to room with. Do they get to pick them? Do they get this? No, you don't get to pick. I'm picking for you. And I said, you just show up and pack what I told you to pack and just go along with it, because they have to learn. You have to be flexible. You have to be, anything can happen. Like literally anything can happen. When you've been around, I was joking with Coach Chaffin the other day, like we've both been around small college for 30 years. And it's like, there's literally nothing amazes you anymore. Like we've seen it all. And I said, probably the last 10 years, it's kind of evened out a little bit. Things have got a little more consistent. Man, back in the day, I played games. We've had the door open with car lights shining in the gym because electricity went out and people couldn't see to find the exits. Like, I mean, we've you name it, it's happened. We've had bus breakdowns. We've had, you just name it. It's crazy. Like we could write a book on small college stuff that's happened, and it's amazing. But you have to learn to adapt and keep your focus where it needs to be. That's one of the reasons why I really am super particular about them not seeing the practice schedule during the day. Your job is to do whatever's in front of you, not say, oh, we got this or we got that, and then we're going to be done. It's more about, can you be mentally tough enough to take whatever's thrown at you next? You don't need to know. You shouldn't be counting. You shouldn't be, yes, we're timing each segment, but you don't know how many more segments we've got. And you don't need to know, because we don't want you saving yourself. We don't want you thinking, man, I hate this next thing. I'm not going to go very hard at it. You know what I mean? It's like, what's in front of you is what you need to do. And so that's what we're trying to get through to them. And same thing with the road trip. Like, we'll give you some stuff, but other things, you kind of gotta figure it out and go with the flow and learn to adapt.
Yeah. Should be fun. I hope you guys do enjoy the road trip. My last thing I'll ask, right, heading into this game, biggest thing you'd like to improve coming over, carrying after the St. Francis game?
I'd actually like to shoot the ball a little better.
Okay.
I think that's a big thing. But all the stuff we've worked on throughout the week, whatever it is, whether it's making quicker decisions, getting our spacing a little bit better, defensively, just being more vocal and active where we're supposed to be. All those things we want to see improvement. We can't zero it on one thing. We got to get better at all those things, because when we get back, quick turnaround for Grace, we don't have time to work on it again for another week. We got to get going. It's here now. So you want to see all those things put together, be better.
Yeah, of course. Coach, I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us once again. Folks, make sure to check out the other content we have coming up. Me and Darrell will be live tomorrow. We'll be talking about the NFL trade deadline in the first college football bracket that came out a couple of days ago for the playoffs. So make sure you guys do join us. We'll be live, I believe, at 11:30 or 12 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you guys do join us for that. But folks, that is going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. You're watching Following the Pat, presented by the GameTime Podcast.